Hello and welcome back. It's Amanda from Hook'em Creations, and over the last year or so, I've had many questions about turn of the heel when it comes to the Bernat Vintage Christmas Stocking pack. Back then it used to come as a kit with this pattern with all the yarn, I believe, back in the 40s and 50s, and now everyone is obtaining these patterns either through relatives that made them in the past, or they're finding them elsewhere, such as the internet. Ever since I made these videos, I've received questions from people about how to do the pattern, or they obtained the pattern and they had some questions along the way, and I do my very best to help other knitters along the way, but a lot of times there's not much I can do. Turn of the heel is one of those questions, that area of question, that the video I made back, I believe in 2021, 22. So it's been a while since I've made those videos, and back then I did not have the camera set up that I have today. And so I'm gonna kind of help walk you through how to do turn of the heel again, specifically for this pattern. I will talk about how many stitches you're supposed to have and go from there. My little setup today is not going to be the exact stocking. It's going to have different colored yarn. It's just kind of a mock-up compared to the other videos where I was actually making the stocking. So if it looks a little different, that's why. I don't have a stocking to make this time around. Making your stocking, you just finished. This here is your instep, would be like that. For my pattern specifically, I have the Christmas trees with the candles and the Christmas wreath on the instep. So this would be where that Christmas wreath would be. And you just finish that off, you cut off the yarn, and then you go over here and you have, and this instep, there should be 26 stitches here. For on the sides, if you're working it flat, like the pattern suggests that you do, then you have 13 stitches on either side, and you bring those together, and that makes 26 stitches on this needle. As you can see, this is where I have like a little opening here where you would join in and do your 13 rows. So I worked up 13 rows, and that does include, that 13th row is the loops on the needle. Okay, so you finished 13 and you have knitted. You finished on the knit side. So you're going to turn and work on starting with the purl side. Now, before I forget, I do highly suggest, before working on this pattern or any knitting patterns in general, to read through your pattern first and have a notebook next to you and break the pattern down into mini sections for you, so you can comprehend and understand what the pattern is saying, because otherwise you're reading these large paragraphs with run-on sentences, and if you're like me, who's dyslexic and has a cognitive disorder or of some kind of some variety or whatever, or just have a hard time reading in general, then I recommend breaking it down. Yes, it's going to take time out of your day, and if you're like me, you're one that likes to jump right in and start working on the project before reading it through, I highly recommend to stop, read through, break it down, and before you start going. So right now you have 26 stitches and you just finished your 13 rows. Again, the 13th row is on the needle. You finished on your knit. You should be having the wrong side facing towards you, and you're going to work 15 purl stitches, An easy way for me to remember 15, especially when working this, is that I have a stitch marker in the middle of the 26 stitches because later on you will need it for working in the round to start counting rows. And so I do 13, slip over, and purl 2 more. And that's 15. After you do your 15, you're going to purl 2 together. So for those of you who have never done a decrease from the purl side, you're going to purl, insert your needle as if you're going to purl in the first 2 stitches, like so. Wrap your yarn around and pull that through both of them, and slide both of those stitches off your needle. That is a purl 2 together. Then you're going to purl 1, stop right there, and turn your work. That is the very beginning of turning of the turn of the heel. From here, you're going to slip that stitch that you just made, the last purl stitch. You're going to slip that over to your needle, and then you're going to knit for 5. Go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This decrease is called PSSO, pass slip stitch over. What you are going to do is you're going to slip the next stitch, knit 1, take that stitch that you slipped, you're going to take your left needle, pick it up, and slip it over the knitted stitch that you just made. And that's how you do the decrease, the PSSO. Then you're going to do a knit stitch to finish off the row, and you're going to turn your work. Again, now think of it this way. We just did 5. Now we're going to do 6 going back. So each time you do a pass, you're going to keep adding a stitch. Whether it's on the purl side or the knit side, you're going to keep adding a stitch. Also, this little gap here, that is normal. That is okay. Okay? That is where we did the slip stitch and then it worked behind to go to the next stitch to do the knit or the purl. That is normal. That is fine. And we're just going to kind of keep working our way back and forth until we start seeing a heel. Okay? So, moving on. So we just did 5. We're going to do 6. So we're going to slip. The first stitch is always a slip stitch. We're going to slip and work 6. Purl 6. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And this is like kind of like a good reminder, like when you're working turn of the heel, like, oh, this is where I do the decrease. So here we're going to, because we're on the purl side, we're going to purl 2 together. And then we're going to purl 1 after that and turn our work. We just did 6, so we're going to add 1 more. So we're going to do 7 on this side. Slip that first stitch over, like always. The first one is a slip. Then we add 7. Knit 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, The knit side is PSSO, so we're going to slip, knit, take that slip stitch and pass it over the knit stitch that we just made, and then we're going to knit one right after that decrease. There we go. You can start seeing those bars at an angle, and the same with the purl side. You can see those bars showing the start of that heel. Going to turn our work. We just did 7, now we're going to do 8. Slip the first stitch, purl for 8. And we're going to keep doing this back and forth, and we're going to work every single stitch. 2, 3, 4, until we have 16 stitches left on our needle. That's 7. Here's 8. Again, remember there's the gap. That's the beginning of our decrease. Purl 2 together. Purl 1. Turn our work. There we go. Slip the stitch. Knit for 9. 2. Here we are. We're right at the decrease, right before that gap. So we start our decrease. We slip, we knit, pass that slip stitch over the knit, and then we knit for 1 and turn our work. And this is relatively easy. Once you get started, it's relatively easy and a lot of fun to do. If you need to slow this video down, I forgot to say it in the very beginning. If you need to slow this video down, down here somewhere, unless YouTube has changed it, there's a little gear icon. Click on the gear icon and you can slow this video down or you can speed it up. The choice is all yours. I'm just going to keep going at my normal pace. So if I am going too fast for you, please go to that gear icon and slow it down. And at this point, I'm at the point where I don't really need to keep counting because I know where to stop, where I need to do my decreases, because there's that visualization within the stitches. Okay, again, there's the gap. Here's the 1 stitch. This is where you do the purl 2. Purl. And we are working every single stitch on this needle. And as you can see, it's starting to form a heel. It's because it's that little bit of a triangle here. Be helpful if I knew what stitch I was doing. Here we are, slip stitch, knit, pass it over, and then knit to finish the row and turn your work. And just keep on going. And turn your work. And let's finish this up. So slip, knit all the way across till you get to that spot to do the decrease. And we're at the break here, so I'm going to slip, knit, pass it over, and knit. And there you go. You should be done at this point. You finish on the knit side of your work. You should have 16 stitches on your needle. So I got 3, 6, 9, 12, 15, 16 stitches. And your heel should look like this. Have this like little triangle effect here. And go ahead and cut off your yarn. I had technical difficulties yesterday and already did it. So normally I like to have my tails a little bit longer than this, but for the sake of this video, I am just doing that. So we just finished doing is turn of the heel. The next part, I do recommend getting a crochet hook. We are going to work at the gusset, which is picking up stitches on the sides here and picking them up and putting them on other needles. I do apologize if my voice sounds a little scratchy. It is spring in the Midwest and we are having lots of storms and it's affecting my allergies, so I do apologize. All right. If you look on the side here, you'll see you have a little tail here from when you started, when you picked up these 13 stitches or these 26 stitches and worked them together and created the beginning of the turn of the heel, this heel part here. So this is kind of like where I find my starting point here. So I like to work through each of these stitches. I take my crochet hook and insert it there, and I just take my yarn and have it pick up the yarn and pull it through. I think it's easier than sticking a knitting needle in these holes and trying to pick up the yarn. And then insert your hook in the next stitch. Use the working tail, not the tail that is cut off. Pull that through and tighten that up. You need to pick up 12 stitches on the sides here. It should look something like this when you have stitches picked up. So I have 12 stitches here. This is what it should look like. After this, you're going to take your spare knitting needle. You're going to knit across these 16 stitches. With this working yarn that you have attached here. You're going to work across. Alright, so I knitted across here. I already have 12 stitches picked up on the right. We knitted across the gusset, or I'm not the gusset. We knitted across the heel. And then from here, remember not to use this tail, okay, that you cut off previously. So I would recommend moving that out of the way if you can. And take your crochet hook and start picking up 12 more stitches along the left side. All right, so we should be ready to rock and roll. You don't need your crochet hook anymore. You should have 12 stitches picked up on this side. This is what it should look like. So you're starting to work on the gusset. The gusset is on the sides here, and this is we just finished the beginning of the heel, so now we're going to work straight up and try and get it to the point where we can start working in the round with our instep. You're going to keep working this until you have 26 stitches on your needles. This here is going to work up until it's all straight and flat. So because we're here, we're going to purl all the way across. So total stitches on these 3 needles, you should have 40 stitches, and now we're going to start working our way to decreasing everything down to 26 stitches. All right, so you did purl all the way across. Good job. From here, you're going to do knit 1 PSSO and then knit all the way across to the last 3 stitches on this needle, on needle number 3. Okay? So knit 1 PSSO, just like earlier. Okay? And then you're going to knit all the way across to the last 3 stitches. And now we're on the last needle. We're going to knit until there's 3 stitches left. On the needle. Okay? From here, you're going to knit 2 together. So it's unlike the purl where we went through the first loop, like so, we're going to go through the second loop. Okay, so you take your needle, insert it through through both loops. All right, yarn over, pull that yarn through, and you're going to drop both of those loops, both of those stitches, and then you're just going to knit 1 like so, and you're going to turn it around and you're going to work purl. And then you're going to do your decrease round on the knit. So that on this needle, the first needle, PSSO, slip stitch, knit, pass the slip stitch over, work all the way over to the last 3 stitches. You're going to knit 2 together, and then the last stitch is going to be a knit. All right, I will do it one more time with you. Again, we're going to keep working all this up until there are 26 stitches for the sake of this video. Otherwise, it's going to be an hour plus long video, and I don't like doing that to you guys. So there might be some speed ups like on the purls, and then we'll go over the knit decreases again. All right, let's go over these decreases once again so we can see how this goes. All right, finish your purl. You're going to knit for 1. On the first needle, first we do the PSSO. So you're going to slip the stitch, then you're going to knit the next stitch, take the slip stitch and pass it over to the other over that knit stitch, and that is how you do the decrease. And you can start seeing where that decrease goes. Okay, from here you're going to knit all the way across until there are only 3 stitches left on the last needle. Okay, now, caught myself. Now you're on the last 3 stitches of your last needle. Okay, needle number 3. You're going to knit 2 together. So you're take your working needle, go insert in the second. You're going to insert both into both loops, but you're going to go through the second loop. Okay, like so. Yarn over and pull through both loops and drop them off. Okay, and then the last stitch is just a normal knit stitch. Okay, and you can start seeing that angle, that slant working. You're going to repeat the purl all the way around, and you're going to repeat the knitted decrease rows until you have 26 stitches left. Okay, and I'm going to work on that real quick, probably off camera, for the sake of not making this video an hour long. I have already worked my last row. I just did the purl stitch, but now we're doing the last decrease row, the last knitted row. From here already, you should be starting to line everything up. You should be having an angle here and another angle here. From here, because I have 4 needles, and I need to transfer these stitches, these 26 instep stitches, over to a needle. I need to get myself an extra needle. So from here, you're going to do your last decrease row. Now, how I like to do it, just like quick, easy math for y'all to just think about. You have 16 stitches on the main heel needle here, number 2, needle number 2. You have 16 stitches. So you have to get your side needles down to 5 stitches. Right now, I have 6, but once I do my decrease, it will go down to 5. And then you will put 13 stitches onto one needle and 13 on the next one, and that will be your 26 stitches that we're trying to get to. So I'm going to go ahead and do my last knitted decrease round here. Do my decrease here. Go. Yep. And there I have 5 stitches on my needle. I'm going to go ahead and put this needle off to the side for right now, and I'm going to continue knitting up until this marker here. Already, you should have 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 stitches on needle. This is technically needle number 3. I'm going to take my marker off, take my working needle, and continue knitting. 1, okay, leave that there. Continue knitting to the last 3 stitches. Knit 2 together, do your decrease, and knit 1. This is needle number 1. So I got 3, 6, 9, 12, 13 stitches here, and this point here is the beginning of each round when you start working in the round. Okay, and then from here, now you have 2 needles. Start slipping your stitches onto your needle that was placed on a holder. If you had an extra, some double pointed needle sets come with 5, others come with 4, and this set I have currently came with only 4. Like so, and from here go ahead and continue knitting across these 26 stitches. And then connect the instep to needle number 3. And there you go. Now you're at what we consider the beginning of the row. So this is the beginning of the row. This is needle number 1, number 2, this big one here, and needle number 3. And now you're getting into the foot section of this. But what we just did was the turn of the heel, this little V here, and the gussets, which is adding the side walls of the heel for the stocking. Yes, there is a hole here. That is for later. You will sew that up, but for the sake of this video, it is just turn of the heel and the gussets. Okay, I hope this helps clarify some things. Again, I made those videos about 4 years ago, and I know I did not have the best camera setup. I was trying to film it at nighttime when I had kids home all the time. Wasn't the greatest time to be filming, and I didn't have the best camera angles, didn't have the best equipment to work with. And I don't have the greatest equipment to work with still, but I have learned how to utilize it a little bit more so. If this video helped you out, please give it a like and a share, and be sure to follow me on other social media platforms such as Instagram, Facebook. Until next time, happy crafting, and I hope your stockings are ready for Christmas.